This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for the afternoon of Friday, January 20th, 2023. I'm Alex Brown. Officials in central Indiana plan to use funding from the state's Regional Economic Acceleration and Development Initiative to fuel revitalization of the White River. Fishers Mayor Scott Fadness calls the funding a first step in making the river a catalyst for redevelopment and placemaking.
I give Citizen Energy in the city of Indianapolis a lot of credit for cleaning up the White River. I mean, the White River isn't what it once was. It's far better than what we saw maybe 10 or 20 or 30 years ago in terms of water quality. So with that fundamental, improvement, now we can build upon that. And I think what you're seeing now is whether it's at Conner Prairie, whether it's at 96 in Allisonville, whether it's in Noblesville, Anderson, even down to Marion County, you have these opportunities for kind of revitalization and utilization of the water.
Visit Indy's Brad Bobine said officials have a grand vision to create a national park-like amenity with a network of active places, large and small parks, and cultural attractions. The Kosciuszko Economic Development Corporation says it will launch a second cohort of the Kosciuszko Medical Technology Accelerator Studio. MedTech began last year to serve as a business accelerator for startup companies to take advantage of the numerous orthopedic manufacturers in Warsaw. Indianapolis-based broker-dealer and investment advisor Thurston Springer has acquired the Midwest Fixed Income Trading Group of Boehning & Scattergood in Pennsylvania. Boehning & Scattergood's 7 fixed income specialists are joining Thurston Springer in its new Columbus, Ohio office. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Has your company grown at a rapid pace over the last 2 years? Nominations are now being accepted for Fast 25, IBJ's exclusive list of fastest growing companies in central Indiana. Honorees will be spotlighted in a special publication in the IBJ and celebrated at an event on May 9th. Check out the changes to this year's criteria to see if your company qualifies. Learn more and submit your nomination by March 1st at ibj.com/nominations.
In today's business environment, every company is a tech company. Interested in learning more about emerging technology trends that can make an impact on your strategy in 2023? Join us February 15th for IBJ's Technology Power Breakfast to hear from top tech entrepreneurs, investors, and up-and-comers. Our panelists will dive into key issues and trends that will inspire fresh ideas. RSVP or reserve a corporate table for 10 by February 9th at ibj.com/events.
Vigo County saw record revenue from visitors last year, according to tourism officials. Our partners at WTWO-TV report that Terre Haute Convention and Visitors Bureau collected $2.8 million from the county's innkeeper's tax, an 8% tax on all overnight lodging in Vigo County. Executive Director David Patterson said the largest drivers of the tourism growth were the Laverne Gibson Championship Cross Country Course, the Mill Event Center and Amphitheater, and the Terre Haute Convention Center, which opened last April.
Cross country, there's 50,000 people that go through those gates, through 16 events, which is pretty impressive. And then the Mill's been a great addition. They're up around 50,000 people per year. So the addition of the convention center is really going to open up a number of possibilities. I can tell you right now, every weekend in November of 23 is already booked.
Patterson said he is optimistic the county can reach $3 million in innkeeper's tax collections this year. The home to Manchester University's music and art departments has received donations totaling $1.5 million towards a $5 million renovation project. The gifts from 3 separate donors are earmarked for a planned upgrade of Otho Winger Memorial Hall, one of the oldest buildings on the North Manchester campus. The school says the gifts will help fund classrooms with proper acoustics and surround sound equipment, art classrooms with important safety features, a new HVAC system, a new elevator, and dedicated technology classroom and laboratory space for graphic design. The funding came in $500,000 gifts from alumnus Rick Mishler and his wife Deb, Fort Wayne businessman and philanthropist Chuck Sirac, who founded musical instrument retailer Sweetwater Sound, and one anonymous donor. Fueling Indiana's workforce pipeline is becoming more of a team sport for higher education institutions. Partnerships between one-time competitors for students are now becoming more commonplace, says Purdue University Global Chancellor Frank Dooley, who points to a partnership with Ivy Tech Community College.
We're trying to identify these areas for workforce development where Ivy Tech might be able to get that person the associate's degree, but oftentimes when you talk to the employers in the field, Yeah, but some of these folks should go on even further. That's where we step in, and then we help the person who started at Ivy Tech complete to get to the bachelor's degree. And Ivy Tech has just been phenomenal as a partner in that space, along with others.
Dooley says many of his students are studying nursing, cybersecurity, and supply chain management, but the school is also examining the next wave of careers such as the semiconductor industry. Dooley says over the last 4 years, enrollment has grown 25%. Last year, Purdue Global graduated 11,500 students, but this year it could reach 12,400, he said. Federal regulators have rejected Indianapolis-based Eli Lilly and Company's application for accelerated approval of an experimental treatment for Alzheimer's disease. Wes Mills has more.
The rejection is due to a limited number of patients that were still on the drug for a full year in clinical trials. The news, announced Thursday, might only be a short-term setback for Indianapolis-based Lilly, which has been touting the drug for 2 years as a potential breakthrough for slowing decline in cognition and daily function in patients with early symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration said it wanted to see data from at least 100 patients who received a minimum of 12 months of continued treatment on the experimental drug. Lilly said the drug, which is given monthly, was able to target and clear large amounts of a protein called amyloid plaque in the brain, considered a telltale indicator of the disease. That allowed patients in the trial to complete their course of treatment when they reached a predefined level of amyloid plaque clearance. Those patients were given placebos for the remainder of the 12-month trial. Daniel Skavronsky, Lilly's chief scientific and medical officer, told the Washington Post the hope, assuming the drug receives full approval, is that patients are able to receive the drug for a short term, get the amyloid cleared, and, quote, be done with their treatment. Lilly said it would continue with another ongoing trial for the drug and expected to issue a so-called top-line readout or summary results in the second quarter of 2023. Wes Mills, Inside Indiana Business, Radio on Demand.
Sports media personality Dan Dockich is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, and entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Alex Brown for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.